Hello all, good morning.
Yeah, Ashish, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Okay, so callback. So we have few topics left in callbacks. We'll finish that one today, and we'll jump to the next session called your, EDA pre-processing steps in your project. That is also one important part. Let me share my screen. Copy this. Okay, guys. So can you just okay, wait 2 more minutes? Can you see my screen, guys?
It's loading, Ashish.
Okay.
Yes.
So here we are, basic callbacks. So few concepts in callbacks that we need to understand today. I think this one slider, multiple, this one will start. I think data self figure and slider, I think, okay, this multiple inputs. Okay, so I'll discuss from here. You guys, try to play with it in the background, and in case of any query, we can discuss. Is that fine? So let's start.
Yeah, Ashish.
9:04. Okay, so we saw the callback. Quick revision for yesterday that we have one input. So this part we already know. This is the logic or the design part or the layout part of our application, and how this is happening in the background. This is the callback. In the decorator, you have to pass a output, you have to pass the input, and you have to pass component ID and component property, right? So guys, next, like it is mentioned here on the next coming code example, they will not mention component ID and component property. Okay, just my output and this property. No, they will not mention this key or component ID equal to. Okay, so we are going to see that now. Any output can have multiple input components. Here is a simple example that binds five inputs, the value property of two DCC drop-down components and two DCC radio item components, and one DCC dot slider. Now, can you guys copy this code and run in your system? And tell me what is the output you are getting, or what is the application's UI?
Yes. Dash app with multiple inputs, right? Where we were.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Excuse me, sir. It's showing the scatter plot visualization.
Scatter plot visualization. And what in the UI? You will be getting something like this, right?
Yes,
A
sir.
drop down and two radio buttons in the left hand side, a drop down in the right hand side, and two radio buttons on the right hand side. Now
Yes.
tell me how many inputs we have here, and also one slider at the bottom.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what does this mean? That means if you see, we'll change in your application that is currently running, change these drop downs. Okay, change the linear or log. So these are based on changing these values. You can see the scatter plots are changing. Based, if you change the slider also, the scatter plots are changing. And why it is so? Because it is taking the respective values from the respective components and then it is drawing the graph. Now let's try to understand the code here. Okay, so it is taking the data from this CSV file. It's plotly.github. Plotly is GitHub, right? So this is the CSV file. And in the layout part, how many divisions are there? This is the main division.
Yeah.
This is
One.
a division one, second division, and inside this, what
There
is
is another
the
division.
so inside this, what is the end of this division? Here in this division, we are passing a list of other components. So this is one component. Okay,
Yeah.
this is video button, another component, and till this part is my second division. Everyone agree with this?
Yes.
Right? And if you see, this is also making sense. This is nothing but your drop down on radio buttons in the left hand side. This drop down and below radio button, linear or log. Now if you see here, this drop down is being used in DCC drop down component, and here in the drop down, what are the values we are passing in the drop down? In the data frame, which is called indicator name, that is the column, and all the unique values from that column we are passing in this drop down. And by default, this is the value is being passed. Okay, and can you see we have given one ID here in this to this drop down. I hope you understood now why we gave this ID component here. Sorry, ID parameter here in this drop down component. Right below to this, there is a radio button. That means this part, right? This linear. So you can see in the radio button we are passing what? Linear or log. And by default it is linear. And again, to this component also we have given one ID. This ID we are going to what use in the callbacks.
Ashish, like a DF indicator name dot unique, like Can you please go through that once?
So in the drop down, what we need to pass previously, what we are passing in a drop down, a list, right?
Yeah.
In the name inside a list. So here
Yes.
you are passing a list. Can you understand? This is a list.
Yes.
Why it is a list?
Yeah, because obviously that's in a bracket so that it shows that it's a list, and also it's a data frame too.
Right. So not due to the bracketed list. If you any data frame, if you
Yeah.
call, if you create a space, this is a specific column in the data frame called indicator name,
Okay.
right? And if you call the unique function on any particular columns, that means in that column, what are the values, unique values will be popped up in a list, or this line will return you one list with unique values in the column called indicator name,
Okay.
right? So here drop down, now you understood. Now radio button, I think you understood. Now this drop down and radio button are in the left hand side. This style with width and display will be, if we'll change this one, what will happen? This part means this part only. So the code we just now discussed is the highlighted part. Everyone agree with this, or any confusion in this? Okay. Now next is what? Right hand side.
Excuse me, sir.
Huh.
The linear or log, that radio button, we have the in the both sides, left and right. But we are writing only for the right side. That second one. But we are not.
See, this is the left hand side.
Okay.
This is the left hand side and the radio button.
Okay.
Left hand side drop down on radio button.
I'm just confused. That is that same code I have divided. Sorry.
No. So again, this is the right hand side.
Okay, sir. Okay.
This is the right hand side, and in the ID also it is mentioned the unique name as x-axis column and y-axis column. From there also you can identify. That means what it is doing, it is taking the data. Left hand side will be the x-axis of the scatter plot. Right hand side will be the y-axis of the scatter plot. Now tell me, after this, which part they are in the UI? After this part, below to this, which component is there? A graph. Here it is showing a scatter plot, right? So left hand side drop down radio button, right hand side drop down radio button, then what? A scatter plot. This is what, if you see in the code, it is there. dcc.graph. Can you see, we have not passed anything else here, just the ID. Like we are creating a blank space yesterday for the output. Now this is my output, isn't it? Based on the value, we are creating a graph. And this place means what? The below to this left hand side radio button and right hand side radio button, that is a graph. So for that we have put what? dcc.graph and with an ID. This will be my output. And below to this, you can see below to the graph there is a what? Slider is there, right? And this is what the slider is here. dcc.slider. Now slider we saw yesterday. What is the mean value, max value, the step? What is the default value? These things in the slider we saw, right? Can you try to correlate this one? So data frames, year columns, minimum value is the mean value. Data frames years column, maximum value is the max value. Now, can you see the marks parameter here? We discussed a dictionary yesterday, that label one, number one. So any query on the slider part?
No, Ashish.
Now, once everything done, we know what our application UI contains. Radio button, drop down, graph, slider. That is done with this part. Now come to the functional part, that is callback. Now here in the callback, you can see how many output we have and what is the output? The graph. Here output, the first property is what? The ID of the component. Right? The right hand side is the output of that component. Which property of the output? The figure property, right? That means we want to show the figure of my graph is as output. Are you clear? So I told you, right? This won't be written again and again. Which part? This part, component ID equal to component property equal to. This is omitted here. That means if this is the first argument, this is the second argument, you have to understand this is what? Component ID and this is component property, right? So this is what it is written here. Okay, component ID and component property. Now, as we saw, we have 5 inputs, right? 2 drop downs, 2 radio buttons, and 1 slider. Those things we have mentioned what? In the input section. Again, this is the components what? ID, this is the components property. Now, if you see here, one input is the x-axis drop down, one input is the x-axis radio button. One input is your y-axis drop down, one input is your y-axis radio button. And at below also we have one slider. There also we are getting the value. Now, if you see here, after defining your input and output with the update ID and all, what we are doing? We are creating the function here. Now tell me how many input the function will take. So if I am defining one function, yeah, how many?
5.
5, right? So 5 inputs this function is taking. And this, we are creating a new data frame based on the slider that is called year value. So this year value will come from what? If you select 1982, then the year is now selected as what? 1982. So the data frame will be created based on this year you selected in a new data frame. That is called DFF. And once the new data frame is created based on the year from the slider you selected, then you are constructing a scatter plot. Px.scatter. Here in the x-axis, what you are giving? So in the x-axis, what is coming? Indicator name. Everyone agree with that? In the x-axis, that means what? The first left-hand side division. What is coming? Indicator name.
Yes, Ashish.
And in the right-hand side also, it is coming what? Indicator name. Now, can you see here what we are doing actually in the code? This code is also Just a minute. See guys, from the x-axis, what is the indicator name coming? That is coming from the component's value property. And in the y-axis also, what is coming? That is also coming the which component's value property? Which component, guys? This one. This x and y we are selecting based on which property? Drop down or radio button? Guys, drop down or radio button? The x-axis we are providing
Yeah.
drop downs.
Through the drop down.
Right. So here, if you understand properly, in the function, what we are writing based on the value selected from the 5 inputs, we are passing those values in the function. And based on the function, based on the values that we got from the input, we are constructing new data frame and new scatter plot every time. So that means every time these values will change. Suppose you change anything in the x-axis or drop down or radio button or anywhere, those values will change again and the function will be called again. So the number of times you are changing the value, the number of times the function is going to be called with these new values that you are selecting. And based on the value you are selecting, this new data frame, this new scatter plot, everything is being created.
That new scatter plot will be shown in the same area, graphic.
Same area, same place where we define that there is a, so in this area, dcc.graph.
And excuse me, sir, one more thing that you you told me that graphic, indicator graphic, we have dcc.graph id equal to indicator graphic we are giving. But before that, we are using that indicator name for df indicator name, that column name we have used. But that indicator graphic, where do we get this name? From where?
No, this is the ID. Yesterday I was talking about the nickname, right? Like to understand a component, we are giving a name to it called ID.
Yes, sir.
So that whenever we require in our function, we are not going to say that this is a DCC graph component. Instead of this, what we are going to say? ID equal to indicator graphic. So this means what? This component.
Yes, okay, but from that we are giving that allies name like that somewhat. But my question is, from where it taken the name? What are the values
we are
stored?
giving it this name, right?
Yes, sir.
Indicator graphic. So this is we are giving a unique name to it, to this
we
component.
Are creating a graph and give the name to that. ID is the name for that we are creating.
Correct.
For
Correct.
the graph.
Yeah. So for our hassle-free access, we are giving an unique ID name to this component, and every component has this ID. Okay, every component. Okay. As per our requirement. So I can change this to indicator graphic 1, indicator graphic 2, and I can use that name in the callback function. Where we have used.
I am just confused there. And yesterday we have only slider. Now we have the slider, and that from that slider also we are doing the graph scatter plot.
Correct. So that's why it is called what? With multiple inputs. Yesterday we saw only one input. Here multiple inputs are there.
Okay.
So from slider, from drop down, from radio button, everywhere you are getting the values. And based on that values, this function is being called and new data frame is being created and a scatter plot also created. Why creating this scatter plot? Because we have to show this in the output. Right, so if this function is
okay, but before that we have created the radio button and the drop down. For there we are not creating this scatter plot separately. We are directly called the dcc.graph that we are giving the name. But here we are given the layout like before what we have used. Can we use that same DCC graph here?
No, I didn't get your question. What you are asking? You are saying like this DCC graph is here. It is here, right? What does
Yes.
this mean?
Through this, we can create the scatter plot.
Not through this. We are keeping a place here. Here we can place a scatter plot, histogram, any kind of graph.
Okay.
This is a blank space we are creating in our UI, which will contain a graph, whether it is a scatter plot, histogram, or any kind of plot, any kind of graph.
Okay.
Okay, that means we are creating a vacant space for our output. This is my output, vacant space. Now in this vacant space, in the callback function, we are creating a scatter plot here in the callback function. And in that vacant space, we are returning this figure. If you see here, we created the figure here, that is a scatter plot. And in that vacant space of graph, we are returning this figure.
Okay. From here only, we have created the scatter plot for all the drop what we have created for the left hand side, right hand side, and the that scale bar. Okay.
Now you are now you are correct. So based on the input value, this function is taking the values, creating new data frame, creating new scatter plot, and returning this. Here, what these two lines are? Where these two lines? What is the benefit of this two line? Can you please guys tell me?
For plotting the values, the labels of the x-axis and y-axis.
Title we are given.
Your voice is breaking, Diksha. I'm not sure whether only your voice is. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we do.
Hello. So
Hello.
Diksha's voice broke, or is my voice breaking, or I?
No, sir. You are
No, your voice is not breaking at all.
But I can hear Diksha said something, but I couldn't hear properly. So what is the answer you gave? Can you please come again?
Title for the x-axis and y-axis.
Correct. So this is nothing but when we select in the radio button, what we are selecting in the radio button? Guess what we are selecting in the radio button?
For
Check
linear and log.
That means what? Linear log, I told you, right? When the x-axis units are large,
we are using
the x-axis is large, we use log, right? Right. So this is what we are doing here, right? Updating the axis information. If we select linear, then linear units will be popped up. If we select log units will be popped up. And after changing this, so what we're doing? I'm creating a data frame, creating a scatter plot from the data frame, then updating our layout, updating our x-axis, y-axis, and finally we are returning that figure of scatter plot. Now, because of this, what happening? Whatever value you are changing, immediately the function is getting called, and whatever 5 values we have, based on the 5 input values, one new scatter plot is getting created and being shown in the middle.
But excuse me, sir. Yesterday we have seen that a callback function we have not returned yesterday that coding. While doing a callback, we need not to return a value for a function.
So this is yesterday. This is what we did, right? Can you see there is a return statement in the function?
Okay. We have not called that function. Okay, sorry. Okay, sir.
Correct. Okay. I got it. So you were saying like without calling. Okay, so that is calling. Okay, here, but the function, every time you are creating a function in your code, that should be returning some value, right? That's why we are creating the.
We have not called the function. I'm just confused.
Okay, no worries. So any queries? So shall we move to the next one?
Yeah, just 1 minute. So in that code, like on the scatter plot we were creating, right? Can you please go to that? Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
In here, like we were using the new data frames indicator name for to plot it. Like for x-axis, we were using indicator name, and then x-axis column name. Like okay, that is fine. Like in indicator name, and then the column name is getting plotted for the like this value we have mentioned, right? So what does it actually do in here?
So what is this one? X-axis column name. Where this name is coming from?
The default value maybe.
The
X-axis
ID.
X-axis column name is coming from which? Where I have mentioned this name
ID.
again.
In the ID you have mentioned, like this is for the
X-axis column name. Okay.
yeah.
Let me see. Let me verify in the ID I have mentioned X-axis column name or what? Right. This one you are saying.
Yeah.
But here my ID is X-axis column.
Yeah.
I am using X-axis column name. Okay,
Yeah.
good question and good observation also. But here X-axis column is there as a ID. Here we are passing X-axis column name.
Yes.
So this is nothing but the functions argument, right? Here.
Yeah, that is okay. After that, like we were using the value, right? So
What is this value? Where
yeah,
this value is coming?
That is the input.
Right. So whatever value we are selecting for X-axis column name,
okay, okay,
that value is being getting equal to this data frame, and based on that value we are selecting the X. That means select the data frame values where indicator name is equal to what? The value what we are passing as the argument. Now this is coming from where? X-axis column name is coming from by changing the drop down in the left hand or by changing the radio button. These
okay.
values are changing every time you change something in the UI.
Yes.
And based on this value, we are filtering out the data frame or we are creating a new data frame. And from that data frame, we are extracting the X values by doing df indicator name equal to the value we selected.
Okay, so like whenever you are changing in the UI, like log or linear, on that time the value will like
These values, yeah, correct.
okay,
These values will change. And based on this value change, the function will be called. Every time you change the value, this update graph function will be called with the 5 parameters or 5 arguments.
yeah, that is totally fine. Like if I change over there, then the x-axis column name, as we said, like x-axis column name will be into the in like indicator name. So that is totally fine. Like this value will help us to pass the value into the indicator name.
Correct.
Okay.
And based on that, we are extracting X and Y so that we can plot the scatter plot.
Okay, okay.
Excuse me,
Because
sir,
this value part was literally confused me. That's it.
that country name we have given that at the hover name equal to data frame of indicator name equal to y-axis column name. Here that we have that given the country name. Where can I find that?
Y-axis column country name, right? Where this country name is coming?
Ashish, can you open the CSV file once? That's the then.
Right. That is a good suggestion. This is the not coming, not happening. Or my system is a bit slow, I think.
I think in the down it's downloaded actually.
Oh, what is getting downloaded? Okay. So I thought it will open in the browser. I'm looking at the top of my screen, but in the bottom it is getting downloaded. But I'm not sure whether it will open immediately. So try to, okay, let's see here. My Linux system is bit different. Now, can you see here? Country name is here. That means that hovering thing. If you open your application and hover around the scatter plots or marks or the circles, this is saying based on the country name in your data frame, you create the hovering condition. Now you got to know, Divya, where it is coming from this column.
Yes, sir, that category, yes, from like the category, we have like country name, we have categorized the
categories. So that means plot the scatter plot based on the values that you are getting from different components. And while after plotting that, when you hover around it, you have to show me the country name. This is what it is saying. Now all okay?
Sir, next line is, can you please explain, sir? After this one, there's a margin.
This one.
Yes.
This one figures margin, right? The figure you plotted, the scatter plot, the left, the border, the top.
Okay. Good.
To so just go through the documentation. I forgot what the specific meanings are, but this is what the figure, the scatter plot we are creating, that margin, that to make it small or large, you can do with this update layout margin parameter.
Okay. Okay.
That country name can we see in the scatter plots or Philippines? Oh, that okay. That name is shown Nepal x-axis, y-axis, like the way while clicking the scatter plot, it shows the country name and the x-axis value and the y-axis value.
Correct.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So tell me now, are we okay to go to the next one? So in the next one, what we have the opposite. What's the opposite? Multiple outputs and single input. Here what we have? We are changing 5 inputs and we are getting 1 single output. Now in this code, you will see what? Multiple outputs with single input. Now can you copy this code and try to run this and see the output? Now, if you see here, what is in the UI? What are there in the UI?
Yeah, there is a selection button were there. So up, down, like that button. If we change, the values also getting changed, like x2, x3, x4 values and all.
So that means this one, right?
Yeah.
Here that means this is your input, one input, and how many outputs you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
So that means this is my x value I am putting. Based on this value, x square, x cube, 2 to the power x, 3 to the power x, x to the power x being calculated as output. Now let's try to understand the design of this UI. So as you say, this is what? The input is what? This input is a
Text box.
So yesterday we are seeing type equal to text. Here, can you see what is the type here? In the input? Number, right? That means this input is a number input that you have to, and ID we are giving, right? Where this num multi is coming? Dibya?
Yeah, we are giving the name.
Correct, right? And this is the default value if you don't give anything else. So every time you write something in that input number box, this value is going to be stored in this parameter. Suppose we write 10, then this value will be 10. If you don't write anything, then the default will be 5. Then what we are doing after that, what is in the UI? This is kind of this is the output. So this part we discussed. This part is what?
Output.
The output in form of a table. And this table we can achieve with what? Which component? HTML component. And that is what we did here. HTML table. Here we are passing a list of what? This is what? This is the information about the rows that you are seeing. Can you try to understand? We saw something. So this html.tr means what, guys?
Row
Table
values.
row.
Okay, table row. Now in the first row, what is mentioned? What is the difference? We saw that html.td and th table head. Something we saw, right?
TD means the subset value.
For
So
a
here,
particular cell.
particular cell. So can you see here what we are doing here in this table row? What we passed in the table row, we passed the list. What is that list? So this is how you have to write x square. Can you understand how you write x square here? Superscript html.sup. What is html.sup? So tell me, in this one line belongs to which part in your UI? Tell me.
X square.
X square. That means this part, x square.
Yeah.
The next line, HTML TD X HTML SUP3. That means what? X3.
Cube. Yeah.
2 HTML SUP X 2 to the power X, 3 to the power X, X to the power X. This is how we defined it. And if you understand here, we are giving a ID to it. Why we are giving an ID to it? Square, cube, twos, threes, x to the power x. Where this ID is coming from?
This ID is coming from
our mind, right?
Yeah.
This ID we are giving so that what? We can use this ID in our callback
Callbacks.
function.
Yeah.
Right. So let's try to understand the callback now. This is, I have how many output? 5 output. And what is the first argument of this output?
Squared.
The IDs we are giving here, right? Square, cube, twos, threes, x to the power x, right? And all these ID will be what? The children property means what? The value that this field is going to contain. So 5 output we defined. Where this num multi is coming? In our input, given. Right? Num multi. Okay, and the respective value. So this is how you need to mention the input and output in the callback. Now let's see the function here. This function is called what? Callback underscore a, which is taking one argument, one input, right? And is returning what? S square, x3 to the power x, 3 to the power x, and x to the power x. So how many values it is returning? 5 values.
Yeah.
5 values
And
or
as is
5
like
outputs.
here for the output, like square, we were using the ID so that the values can be assigned. So like this children thing.
Children thing I told you, right? The components value. Children is the first property. That's why it is omitted while defining the what? The code here.
While we were doing that hedge division thing. Okay.
Not so this is input. This is
Okay.
output. Right? The children properties means what? The value it is containing, the component value it is containing. What is the value this table first row containing? That is the children of what? ID equal to square. So the value means what? X square.
Yeah.
So always children, when you see children, that means what? The respective value associated with that particular place, yeah, or component or anything. The respective value.
Okay.
Easy, right? So once you understand 1, 2, then it will be a bit easy to understand here. All right. What else we have? Chained callbacks. So what is chain callback? I think this one will be a bit complex, but I don't want to go through this right now. You can go through it. And guys, this is not all actually. You can see there is so many things here. This is just we started. If you want to deep dive into the Plotly and you want to really implement this in your work environment, you have to go through this all documentation. It will take time, but you have to go through this one by one.
Ashish, I
Now
have
tell me,
Ashish,
yeah.
for Plotly is for visualization, right?
Correct.
There are other applications like Tableau or Power BI. Most of the companies, what do they use? Like they use
correct. Yeah, that is a good question. So basically, if you are going for the dealing with the management, my friend also who did the MBAs and all, so they are basically using Power BI and your Tableau for visualization purpose. But you can use Plotly dash application for that purpose also.
Yeah.
Because they are, yeah. So this is kind of similar. You are creating an application. There also you are doing the same thing, but that is different. It is different, but you can use Plotly dash app also instead of Power BI and your Tableau.
Yeah. Do you know like which one is easier? Like
see, it depends the works. As I told you, right? Those are MBA people. They are familiar with Tableau and Power BI, right? And we are basically writing the codes in Python, understanding everything in Python. So this is all Python, right? So depends on which background you are from. If you are from MBA background, then that Power BI and Tableau will be helpful. But if you are not management side or bit technical side, then this will be easier for you because you understand Python, right? Easiest.
Okay. Ashish, your voice is sometimes going in and out. Is it only for me or everyone?
No,
Same, it's going low and it's coming.
Yeah, it's.
Is it, guys? Is it slow?
Yeah, not
now?
frequently happening. Like,
can you?
Not slow, low.
Maybe network fluctuation. Yes, maybe. Let me switch to my mobile net then. Just a minute. Give me 1 second. Maybe Hello.
Yeah,
Can you guys hear me now properly?
yeah, now it is
Yes.
clear.
Okay, I switched to my mobile net. Maybe the Wi-Fi is fluctuating. So I was feeling like what you guys are using in your work, Power BI, Tableau, what you are using, or you are not using anything.
Sir.
Sorry.
Power BI. Power BI, my seniors are using.
So Power BI, have you seen the
Yes, sir. Actually, Power
visualization?
BI. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just started learning. That Power BI is easy comparatively plotly. That we
Yes,
have
sir.
we have to import the tables, and we have all the test scattered plot and stacked bar chart, a pie chart, or whatever the visualization part we have. All those things there also we have. Just clicking the button, we can easily get that. We have what the columns we have to select the columns, and we can easily get the two. But it's easy, simple. Uh, Comparatively,
Okay.
it's simple.
Okay. My question is, using Power BI and Tableau, is there any user interactive plots you are plotting, like changing the value and seeing the reflection in the plots? Those who are using Power BI and Tableau, have you seen something like this? You change something in the figure or based on the value, and the plots and the visualization is also changing. This is called dynamic visualization. Is it possible there?
Not sure, because this business analyst guys were mostly used this Tableau and Power BI. But what they actually do is like they can prepare some kind of documentation and they'll show to the client like this is all happening, this how the data were going and coming like that.
But
But I
with
haven't
this, what
seen.
you can do? With this, what you can do? You can create an application, pass to the business people. They can change the values in the application and they can see the results themselves. Although it is
What you're
difficult.
saying is like finally they are presenting it in PPT only. Am I right?
So Dinesh, finally,
What?
we have to do it in PPT. That's what you said, right? Or how?
What's your question, Aziz?
No,
No.
like the end uses of the
Okay.
business, whether
Okay.
you use Power BI or Tableau or any Plotly, what is the
Okay.
end users, how they are seeing your data? Through a PPT, through an application, through just
Yeah,
a
but
graph?
when it comes to client, like these guys were like we do have a different types of clients. Like they some guys will understand these codes, or some guys will understand about the business requirements fully. But there is a management peoples who all are handling a lots of projects and all those, like like our managers and all those. Like they used to they don't have that much time, right? So if it is in a PPT, this will be helpful for that guys, like this kind of a Plotly or this Tableau and all those things for the internal team, or else that there is a specific client guys will be there, right? Who can have more and much knowledge about it. Like if you have any doubts in the requirement which client gave, there these things will be helpful, like this Plotly or Tableau, whatever it is. But at last the paper presentation is only way like you can interact with the client, because these guys have no much
So,
time for all
so,
this.
so if there is a dynamic nature, so now with this useful discussion that we just did, we can conclude if we need a dynamic interpretation of our data, dynamic in the sense user interactive, then you go for Plotly and this kind of stuff, because here you are writing the code, but the end user is not seeing the code. It is difficult for you, but not for the end user. End user is seeing an application with all the details, or by changing the values in the drop down or giving in something in the text box, he is seeing the last end result. The code is complex behind that, which you wrote. And if you don't want an interactive dashboards or any dynamic changes, then you can use those PPTs and all, right? So based on your requirement, who is using and what type of data they need, whether they need a user interactive visualization or dynamic visualization or static visualization. Are you getting what my point is here? But you guys can try, right, in your work environment. If you are aware that Power BI and Tableau is being used for the same purpose, you can create a small application and play around it and showcase that whether Power BI's dashboard is useful or this dashboard is useful. Very good experimentation you can do in your workplace. So guys, like this, these are the callbacks. Okay, I'm not going through all the documentation or it will take so much time. But here, if you see here, advanced callbacks, client side callbacks, so many pattern matching callbacks. So different type of callbacks are there. This is bit deeper knowledge inside Plotly. Okay, but I would recommend that if it is possible for you to implement this, because now you know, right, and you have the codes also. You just copy this code and change the respective values as per your organization. That's all, and it will show you one dashboard. Are we okay with this?
Okay, sir.
So I will jump to, what is the time? Okay, correct, 10 already. So this is about the visualization of Plotly and Dash applications. We have something else. I didn't upload actually. I'm not sure. I forgot actually to upload these files today. I'll do after the session. The next part we are going to discuss is called your deal with missing values. This is a very important concept in data science. And this is the mandatory steps that you need to perform. You are going to do any project. Mandatory steps. This is called the pre-processing steps. Now, as a data scientist, 80% of time of a data scientist goes with data and its pre-processing steps. Because like while learning, we are getting a simple CSV file with all the details. But in real world, that is not the case. No one is going to give you a proper CSV file with all the details. You have to create your own CSV file. That means you have the raw data, you have to pre-process the data, and you extract the columns that you need in your CSV file. This is also work of the data scientist, and this is like the real world, real work. Okay, perform analysis on the raw data and extract the useful information for your modeling part. Now, once you created this data frame or the CSV file with the respective columns that you need, suppose 10 columns, you extracted 10 columns in your CSV file. So now that is your data, or you can create a data frame from those CSV files. And in that CSV file, once you load the data, one major problem all DS guys encounter is called missing values. Missing values in the sense the rows will be empty, or there is no value, or maybe garbage value, or something like that. Okay, because in the real world scenario, this is how it works. There is always some missing values if you are extracting the data in this way. That means every time you are not going to get the 100% of your data, few of the rows will be missed. Now these informations will lead you to incorrect assumptions or incorrect results. So that's why I made this note for you. Why we need to do it? What is the purpose to deal with missing values? First of all, biased or incorrect result. That means what? This makes sense, right? I told you how you are going to consider the machine as a small child. How you are going to train it, it is going to behave in that way. So if you are providing missing values to your model, the model will learn according to the missing values because the data is missing. So that's why at the end, what you are getting? Biased or incorrect results. What is the importance of deal with missing values? Model performance will be decreased. That is also making sense, right? So guys, the problem is, if you don't have the data, or if the data is missing, anyway you are going to be impacted with the analysis, with the model, with the visualization. If we have data, then only we can do something, right? We can interpret or we can conclude something. If we don't have the data, and this part, last part, in Python or in your data frame or what we are going to see, this missing value is called NaN, N-A-N, not a number. So whenever you see a NaN value, that means this is a missing value. We write in the, usually if you recollect, we write in the Excel sheet or CSV file, if one cell or one row is, there is no data, we write NA, right? NA means
not available.
Right. So here in Python, not available is kind of NaN, not a number. So when you see NaN values, see like this one, NaN values. So when you're trying to, so few machine learning algorithms will not understand this NaN values. They will throw you the error that I got NaN values, change it to something else, or error will be thrown. So analysis will be impacted, modeling will be impacted, visualization will be impacted. You are going to get the errors for this as well. So many reasons. That's why we have to deal with the missing value first. How to deal with the missing values? What is the way? Can you think something? If you have more number of missing values, you delete it. If you, now guys, what is continuous variable? What is categorical variable?
Categorical variables will be, we can only do some addition or subtraction or arranging values.
Categorical
this is
variables
height.
are like gender or grades, which we have a particular set of values that can be there. But continuous variables are like which change continuously, like price, sales, or maybe
Height,
the
weight.
temperature, humidity. Like that.
Okay, height, weight, gender, right? Suppose this is your data, 3 columns you have, height column, weight column, and gender column. Now height column will contain the continuous values, right? We know this. Weight column, gender column will be categorical variable. Now handling missing data depends on which type of variable you have, right? Now suppose in height column, I have more number of missing values. What does that mean? Like maximum rows are containing missing values. So two options, either you delete this if you have missing values, more number of, suppose you have 100 rows and 90 rows from them is like missing values. What is the benefit of getting the 10 rows? Or you do one thing, you impute the missing values with some specific values. What is that specific values? That we are going to see in this session. That's what it is, deal with missing values. How we are going to deal with missing values, that is the session is all about. So either you delete it or replace the NaN value with a generic approach. What do we mean by generic approach? If it is continuous value, suppose you replace all the NaN values or missing values with the mean of the available values. That means suppose 100 rows you have in this column. Okay, 100 rows you have in this column, and 20 rows has NaN, that is missing values. 80 rows is having some numbers. Now you calculate the mean of that 80 numbers. What will be the value? You replace that mean with all the missing values. That is called impute missing values for continuous variable. Did you get what I said?
Yes. Whichever values are available, take the mean value of that and give that to all NaN. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And can you think same thing about categorical variable? What we need to do for that? imputation, but for categorical variable.
Mode value.
What? Correct. Mode value. That means what? Which is frequently occurring. This also depends on you how you choose the mode value that we are going to see in the next few minutes. So now you understand why we need to use sorry, why we need to deal with missing values and what we need to do if we encounter missing values. And yeah, there is another way also. Use a separate model to predict the missing values. This is also you can do. So three things, right? Either you go for delete if more number of rows are containing missing values. Second, you impute this with the respective generic approach. Third, you can create a separate model which will predict the missing values. This we'll see with in an example. Don't worry. So this is how we are going to handle the missing data. Now for this one, I need to upload this file, guys. Give me 1 minute. So this file, actually, I was doing one project, not project during the course. I like group of friends, we sit together and we try to participate in one of the DS project a few months back, actually. So there we got what? This project to deal with. This is a Kaspersky's provided project. I'll talk about this one. Just give me 1 second. Let me find this one. No, this is my bad. I totally forgot, actually. Just a minute. Image processing. 24th June. 20th June. Got it. Okay, data set, datathon fraud detection. This data, a real world data, not the actual data. The company changed the real data with dummy data. But the structure is kind, you can consider this is how they are dealing with this. This is to identify a fraud transaction. Okay, let me show you the, okay. So I thought it will be useful for you to go through it, because luckily at that time I participated in this and I got this data set, and luckily this deal with missing values and all this EDA things is going on that time. So I captured the data for give you some idea. Just let me show you. So this is the data head. Okay, this is the data here based on the user transaction in the sense what user did, what is the date and time, a specific ID to the customer, what is the event, change password, session sign in, right? Password recovery, so what is the amount he withdrawn, okay? And different information about that user, like active phone call, whether while doing this action user is active in the phone or not. Emulator is, if you search in Google, emulator is a device to do what? Related to this banking transactions. This is a device information. So like this, they have captured what? All, like what is the device it used. Now can you see this kind of data contains multiple non values. Now for which user they could not extract this specific information, that part is now NaN. So this is a very good data set to explore this missing values. Okay, I'll provide you after the session. Please don't worry. Try to understand now, because this is conceptual. I don't want you to write the code in your background. You can do that later, but understand the concepts here. The device, iPhone or Android, or what is the screen size in which So all this information they are collecting, and based on this, there we have to decide whether any user is fraudulent or doing fraudulent transaction or not. So basically, this is a non-unsupervised algorithm. What do we mean by unsupervised? Unsupervised data. This is basically a unsupervised data. What does that mean? Supervised and unsupervised, we discussed, right? We already discussed this thing.
Yeah, in pandas,
So what is supervised, unsupervised?
supervised data will don't have a nan values or else like incorrect shape of values. It will be in a linear format, like it don't have any flaws in it. But the unsupervised data is totally different to it. It will have a nan values, and it may have a non-categorical data and all those.
Anyone else wants to give a try? So this is fundamental, guys. Supervised and unsupervised. You
Does it
need
like
to
the supervised data is
Supervised,
frequently
supervised is something when based on the data which you have, you can predict something, and unsupervised is based on the data, predictions cannot be made.
Okay, guys, I'll explain it again. Let's not, save some time. I'll explain this again. See, this is very basic. Okay, if you are going, if someone will ask you what is supervised, unsupervised, you should be able to explain by now. Okay, if you are not able to explain, this is a question to my teaching process. Okay, so guys, so I want you guys to understand, because this is very conceptual. This is a very basic thing. So supervised means what? You have a data frame, like remember like this. Okay, you have a data frame, you have a column. In supervised, you will have a column where this is like y. Y means what? The target variable. Now suppose you are gathering the data for a specific task. Suppose take the example of this specific task. What is the aim of this task here?
Fraud or not fraud?
Fraud or not fraud. So that means with every every column of this data, I should be having one column which will tell me what? Either it is fraudulent or non fraudulent. So consider this is one row, right? This line I am drawing, this is one row. And all these values are the sales, right? But at the end or somewhere in your data set, there should be one column which will contain your output or the final result along with this rows, right? Along with this data, along with these columns, what? One column should be there which will tell me either it is, so for fraudulent I will make 1, for not fraudulent I will make 0. This is called what? Supervised. Supervised means labeled data. Labeled means what? You are labeling with each row. You are labeling whether this is fraudulent or not fraudulent. So when you are aware or beforehand you have the details of your target variable or whatever problem you are solving, that is your supervised. That means you know the outcome along with the data. When you know the outcome along with the data, that is supervised. When you don't know the outcome along with your data, that is your unsupervised or unlabeled data. Here we are labeling this with 1 and 0 with every row. But in unsupervised, you don't have this column. Rest everything is same. You just don't know what is the outcome. Making sense now? Any query to understand this one? Because this is very fundamental. So you should be understand when I say this data is unsupervised, that means what? This information we don't have.
So whenever the outcome of a data, if you don't know, then it is supervised. Sorry, unsupervised.
Correct.
Okay.
And based on this information, you are going to use different algorithms. That is the part of the scientist work. You have to identify which algorithm is going to fit into your data. Now, if you have supervised data, different algorithms. If you have unsupervised data, you need to use different algorithms. For supervised data, the machine learning course that you are going through, that is going to help you. So that means whatever we are learning, this is for supervised learning. That means we are aware about the outcome. In unsupervised data, you are going to use the clustering algorithms. K means clustering. Okay, hierarchical clustering, DB scan clustering. Those clustering algorithms you are going to use in case you don't have the target value. You got it, guys? So this problem is basically an unsupervised problem. That means whether it is fraudulent or not, that we don't know. So that means we use the clustering algorithm. So two things you can do. Okay, one, you use clustering algorithm and solve this problem, or you go through one by row using human intelligence. You first label it, whether you are thinking this is fraudulent or not fraudulent. And after doing that, you will get a what? Supervised data. Then you can use the machine learning algorithm which is useful for using the supervised data. But okay, that is a different thing here. But we are not going to supervise modeling, unsupervised modeling. Just I thought to share you because this data is unsupervised. But we have not gone to the modeling part. We are here to deal with the missing values. We don't need the target output right now. Right now, our purpose is to deal with, you can see there are missing values here, right? Okay. Okay. Now this is your data. Okay. Let's go through it and then you will understand. Okay. Now, once you have the data, these are the basic things that you are going to perform. I'll uncomment one by one line. You tell me what this means. df.shape will do what?
Show
Give
the
rows and
shape of
columns.
a data frame.
How many rows I have? 10,969 rows and 21 columns. Okay. df.info, what it will do?
Non-null values. How many
Column values.
Column name, the count of the non-null values, and the respective data type of that column. Very useful. So that means without opening the Excel, I can talk about this data through my code, isn't it? I have 21 columns I have seen in the, right? So for each column in your data frame, how many non-null values are there? So we saw 10,906 is the total value. Customer ID is 10,969 non-null values. That means no missing values in this column. No missing values in this column. But here there are some missing values, right? How many missing values? This minus this. And the data type, that means in the particular column, what type of data? See, this object in Python means what? The string related data, the text related data. So that means what? These columns are containing text or string related data, where the data type equal to object. Where it is mentioned float 64, that means what? Float type of data you are containing. That means operation amount 100. That means what? I mean, this is a column which contains what? Numeric data. Active phone call. This column is also containing float value. Even date time, there is a time is what? Date time format. So using the df.info, you will have a broader idea about your columns, the missing values, and the data type it contains. Making sense? Now what is this? df.describe.
It will give the mean value, average value.
Correct. But it will be applied to only the numeric, right?
Yes.
How many numeric value we had previously? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 numeric values. So out of 21, 5 containing numeric values, 5 columns, 1 column containing what? Date time format, rest columns containing the string data or the text data. So this describe function will apply on that particular 5 columns which contains what? The numerical values. You should not be get confused what about the other columns, because those columns contains what? Text values. So this is also you'll get an idea what is the mean, minimum value, maximum value, mean value, standard deviation, interquartile range of each column. Right? Now, this line is bit important. Let me first show you df.isna. So I told you while we are going, if you can recollect, we just discussed about df.isna when we are going through. That time I told you, right? So this isna is nothing but what? In which row it contains a nan value, it will make that true. If it doesn't contain a nan value, it will make this false. Can you see what is happening with isna? df.isna. Isna means what? It is checking whether there is what? Nan value present or not. If there is nan value present, it is making true. If nan value is not present or you have some values, this is false. Understood? Now, what is this isna.sum? What this will give you?
It will give column wise how many null values are there in that column.
So can you see what happened here? Column wise, total nan value present in that column. That is df.isna, then you are calling the sum function. So it is calculating the total nan value. So as we saw, this column contains no nan value, right? 10,696 rows. Date time event. But here, this column contains 1415 nan values. So this is a useful statistics to calculate the nan value. Right? Now, if you see, if you want to know the percentage of nan values present, so this is the total sum. What I need to do so that it will give me the total percentage of the nan values in that particular column.
This is divided by the total number of rows that will come from my shape.
Sorry, I am writing through my mouse. Actually, I forgot my e-writer below. So tell me, how many nan values are here? How many non-nan values are here? This one means the values. 2 nan values. Now, what is the percentage? How to calculate the percentage of nan value in this particular column? Looking at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 column, 5 rows are here. 3 rows containing non-nan and 2 rows, that is n, that means nan. What is the percentage of nan value in this column? How we calculate this?
40%, I think.
Divided by 5 into
2 by
100.
5 into 100.
So 2 divided by 5
into 100.
Into, consider this as a into, guys, okay, 100. This is how we calculate the percentage of nan value. Same concept here. If you know total, this is the column's total nan value for this particular column. How to calculate the percentage now? Total nan value. 1415 is the nan value. That is my numerator. 1415. How to calculate the percentage? Divided by total row.
Rows into 100.
So if you see here, total row we are accessing through df.shape, because df.shape will give me what?
Rows and
df.
columns.
Rows and columns, right? And the first argument, the first result of df.shape is the total rows, right? So df.shape 0, if I'll do, then it will give me total rows 10,969. That's why if you divide this with what, df dot shape 0, that means 10,969, then it will give me what, the fraction of the missing value present here for each column. And if I'll multiply this with 100, this will give me the percentage of missing values. Okay, that means this column contains 12% missing values, this column contains 65% missing values, this column. So suppose there is a requirement in your work environment, you need not to consider those columns which contains more than 70% of missing values. So by this, what you can do, you can analyze your data, you can conclude, okay, this column I can drop, this column I can drop, this column I can drop. So you can write a for loop to exclude the missing values whose percentage is more than 70%. Just for example, I'm saying. Understood? Any query here? Now, what is, if you see here, this field now will come. Okay, this field now will come. What is this? I think this is also same thing that rest we did, right? Now, this one. So can you tell me what I'm doing here using LOC?
Getting
All the rows.
All rows with missing value less than 60.
So I think the left hand side is the row information, right hand side is the column information. You remember, right? So left hand side we are mentioning all the rows. In the column, what we are mentioning? The missing value. That means we calculated the missing value using this, okay? Not this one. Missing value is like this one, right? The percentage of missing value that we have. So show me the columns which is having missing value less than 60%, right? So now if you see here, what is the column? What is the initial column? How many columns are there?
21.
21. Now we filter out. So that means we removed all the columns which contain greater than 60% of missing values. Am I correct to say that? Now suppose as I told you, we ignored the missing values which is more than 60% in our data frame, and after ignoring we created the new data frame called df new. Okay. Now suppose you want to calculate the mean value of a particular column. How to calculate? This is the formula. Which column we are calculating here? Active phone call column. That means you the second strategy of dealing with missing value. What is the second strategy? Imputations. If it is a numerical values, then calculate the mean value and replace the nan value with that mean value. Here we are doing the same thing. If you observe here, we are calculating the mean value of a particular column. Then in that column, we are assigning field. So we are calling field now. So this method, if you are calling this method over a column, that means it is expecting field now means what? Replace the nan value, and whatever value you are going to pass in this bracket, it will be replaced with that value. So first we calculate the mean. Then in the next line we are saying change the nan value with this mean value we calculated. One liner. With one liner you can impute the missing values in one particular column. Any query here? No, right? Now here, let me see what we have done here. And yeah, also if there is another approach like this Sklearn called replace. Replace is kind of same thing in our Excel, right? Control F, find and replace, same thing. But here in the replace function, it is in field it will automatically replace the nan value with the mean value. But in this replace function, you have to pass two arguments. You have to tell what to replace. First is what to replace. Second is with what value you want to replace. What to replace with what to replace. Are you getting what I'm saying here? That means find the nan value and replace with the mean value. In two ways you can do it, fill or replace. Okay, deleting rows column with missing values. Overall good to follow if missing values is very less. Guys, why it is overall good to follow if missing values is very less? Why not we have to delete if missing values is more?
Then our data size will be very less, and also there might be a chances we can delete the important columns.
Correct. Nice. So this kind of analogy, this will come from the natural intelligence only, right? So these decisions we need to take only based on our requirement in the work domain. So if very little part is there, you can delete them. But if it is more are there, if you delete, then there is a chance of information loss. So information loss is the biggest problem actually. If you're not, you are not gathering all the required information, then there is a chance that machine will not predict properly. Okay. Now what we understood, let's do it for continuous variable. So these are also you need to mention while doing the project. What are your continuous variable? What are your categorical variable? How many rows, columns you have? Then you write the code to deal with the missing values for continuous variable. You write the code to deal with the missing values for categorical variable. Like this, step by step, you need to do. So columns having numeric continuous value can be replaced with mean, median, or mode. Anything depends on your analysis, which will be good for your workplace. Whether replacing with mean will be good, median will be good, or mode will be good. So this method can prevent loss of data compared to the earlier method. Replacing the above two approximations, mean and median, is a statistical approach to handle the missing values. Making sense, right, guys? Making sense. Now, how to, suppose you have, as we have 21 columns here, suppose you have 100 columns and you want to replace the missing values. You can't write, you can't go each column then impute the things, right? So how to handle if you have multiple features to deal with? For loop. Okay, so first what you need to do, you first calculate with this piece of code. What this piece of code is doing, we have already seen this above. What this piece of code is doing?
What is the percentage of missing rows in each column?
Column wise missing percentage data. Then you filter this with df.new. df new means what? The new data which is containing less than 60% of missing values. You agree, guys? Now let me comment this part and this part. What I'm doing here, I captured all the column names which contains less than 60% of missing value. Are you guys getting here, or any query here? That means what? these columns contain less than 60% of missing values. How many? 3, 6, 9 columns. Now, in these columns, we have to replace the mean missing value with the mean value or median value, the 6th column. So we can't go 6 times one by one. So for that, what we did, we wrote this code. Can you try to understand what this code is? For column in df.columns to list. That means I'm talking about this list, right? I'm writing a for loop in this list. This list contains what? The column names. Now here tell me what I am writing this in the original data frame or in the new data frame?
New data frame.
Different, new data frame.
But I
Original.
have used df here. So here why I have used df? So that I just show you how to extract the column names with less than 60% of missing value. So this part we will comment, sorry, I said comment out. For column in df.columns to list. So this part will give me what? All the columns, isn't it? All the 21 columns. Now how to filter the numeric columns only? With this code. So did you get for loop? I am running on the 21 columns in my original data frame. And if df column dot d types, that means what we are doing? We are checking the data type of this 21 column one by one using the for loop. And if the data type is equal to float. If you want text data, what we need to do right here instead of float?
Object.
Object. Right? Why did I get this object information? Here, right? While dealing with this
Info
function.
Info, right? Right. So here I'm selecting out of this 21 columns, give me where the data type equal to float. That means how many float columns are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you need to do it for object, then the rest of the column will pop up. So let's go with float. That means 5 columns. So in this way, I filter it out of my 21 columns, all the floating point columns.
So
and
if
after
integer numbers, right? If we have integer numbers, so then we should use our condition.
Integer.
No,
int.
if we want to fill the both float and integer number.
Df dot d types equal to float and df column dot d types equal to integer.
Okay.
So many ways you can filter it out. That depends on the or and condition, or you can put it in the list and try to. So many ways you can do that. But yeah, good question. So if you want float and integer, or simply you mention this not equal to what? Object. That means what? We are excluding all the data types which is object or string. But there is a chance that you will capture the date time format also, right? So based on your requirement, let's go with float. Right now, once I found out this condition satisfy, that means one column with float value I found out of my 21 columns. What I'm going to do, I am going to apply fill now function in that particular column with that column's mean value. So in this way, we replaced all the 5 columns missing value with their mean value with this 3 line of code. Even if you have 21, even if you have 100 columns. Any query to understand this one? Easy, right, guys? You are understanding, right? Anything that is confusing you, you can ask.
So
Similar
here,
thing. Yeah.
So here we are filling the columns with mean, right? So we don't know the, like, if we want to fill the null values with other mean or other
Mode. Suppose mode. You instead of mean you write mode.
But it is filling with all columns, right? Like we don't know which column we don't know which column we should fill with mean or mode.
Yeah, if that is the case, you first separate out which column you are filling with mean and which column you are filling with mode. That information you have to extract yourself, right? Because that is your decision. Which column to replace with mean values based on your domain knowledge, you are saying this, right? So the phone number column I have to replace with mean, this column I have replaced with mode. So make a list out of that. Then you can utilize that list and what? If you found this one, then another condition. If it is in the mean list, then you perform this one. If it is in the mode list, then you perform this one, like that. You can think of the logic.
Right.
Okay, and same thing we can do with categorical variable. So one of the categorical variable that I wanted to show you, this one, device for user. What is the category we have here?
New
This
one.
New.
how many category? That means 2 category. And how to find the categorical data? Statistics of the categorical data, value counts. In the particular column, if you call this function called what? Value counts, what will happen? It will tell you the old number of values present, the new number of values present. Guys, is it understandable here?
Yes, sir.
What about the NaN values? Is the NaN values is getting calculated here? And also why it is data type is equal to integer? We saw this is a categorical variable. This is object type. Why it is integer? D type equal to int 64. So you saw this data is categorical, new, right? This is the type of object. Guys, can you give me 1 second?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But why it is showing D type equal to int? This is object, right? This is not to this values. This is the value returning by calling value count function. This data type is coming after calling this value count function. Value count function is making what? Old is 2749 times, new is 1978 times. So these are the integers. So this data types is coming by calling this function, which is this value, not this value. These are objects. This is not getting changed. But
So
we
what is
call
that old? What is that
Sorry?
old and new, Ashish? Like value count that was giving an count of
the category, like how many new. So here these rows either it contains new or old or NaN, right? How many rows containing new? How many rows containing old?
Just like gender only, right? Like female or male,
Correct.
that case only.
Correct. The
So
category count.
it shows that like after we fill after we fill the data with a filna, like what are all
No,
the
no, no,
old...
no, 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 not after that. Before that, we have not filled that yet. Before that, So that means your this particular column contain new, contain old, and contain nan. Okay, if you want to know the nan count, then you have to call ijna, right? So this is the nan count here, 624 nan counts here. So that
Okay.
means if I'll submit these three, what will the total outcome?
The total number of
rows,
Yeah.
10696.
So like in the device for users, like there is a new, old, and not
Category,
values. Okay.
correct. Like
Totally.
they said just now, suppose consider this column as your gender column, male and female. You are counting how many males, how many females. So this is same thing. How many old, how many new.
Okay, so that it's a categorical data which won't change.
Correct.
Okay.
And out of 10,696 entries, 2749 plus 1978 are belongs to old and new. Rest 6,242 is missing values. Agree?
Yes.
Now here, one logic that I think one of the learners initially starting point, they told very good thing. Okay, initially what we are doing, either you replace this with mode value. Mode value means what? The frequently occurring category. Are you getting what is the logic? Suppose
Yes.
male, suppose 10 rows are there, 7 rows belongs to male. Okay, sorry, 6 rows belongs to male, 2 rows belongs to female. Suppose what is the missing value? 1 row containing missing value. So what we did, as 6 number of rows contain male, that's why with the missing value we are replacing this with male category. This is what we did, because most number of occurring parts are what? Male. That's why the missing values also we are replacing this with male value. But this is not justified. They said, sir, why should not we go for the proportion distribution? That means suppose out of 10 columns, 4 columns are male, 3 columns are female, then we will see what is the percentage of male, what is the percentage of female. And out of the missing values we have, that much percentage will fill with male and other percentage rest will fill with female. Did you get it? What I said?
Yes.
Yes.
So instead of filling with just one category, let's calculate the proportion which is already present, male and female, and based on that proportion, we'll fill the missing values. So this is why we calculated this one. Here, can you see what I'm doing here? This value counts is returning me what? Old and new counts. Old category and new category counts, right? So that information I'm capturing in 2 variable. This is not the same value here. This is my name, old variable, right? New variable. I'm just storing these values in a variable called old and new. Don't get confused with this name and this name. This name is what? The category inside the column. This is what? The variable I am defining to capture what? This 2749 and 1978. Why I am capturing? To calculate the proportion. What is the new proportion? New divided by old plus new. That is what? 41.84 in your whole column. 41.84 is present, percentage present for new category. What is the category? What is the percentage present for old?
58.9.
100 minus this.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how we calculated. Okay, new category present 41% and the rest percentage is old category. So out of this 6,242 missing values, 40, suppose 42%, consider this is 42%. 42% missing values we are going to impute with new, and the rest, that is 58, right? 58% we are going to, so 42% of this missing value will impute with new. 58 of this value we are going to impute with old. Making sense now? So
Yeah.
instead of replacing all the values with the maximum frequent value, either old or new, we are calculating the proportion of each old and new, and we are imputing that much percentage in our data.
Hello, Ashish. Like we are giving two variables, right? Old and new.
Hmm.
Here. Like and
Here, this one.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And how are you giving the values to the variables? Two variables.
So okay. See, when I run this code, this is same as this one, right? df.active number.
Yeah, yeah.
What it is giving me? 2749 as old, 19784 for what? New.
New.
That means it's returning two values. Isn't
Correct.
it?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
The
how are you
first
turning old to old and new to new?
Because if you see here, first value is old, right? That's why I mentioned old first.
Okay, okay, okay.
Then new first.
Okay, understood.
That also making sense, because if you see here, you can calculate from here also. Like this is nothing but 2749 divided by 2749. Sorry, this what I am calculating. This is 1978 divided by 1978 plus 2749.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so if you are getting confused, you just verify which one is larger here. So seeing this one, your new is very less. This is what we're getting, 42%.
42%. Yeah.
Okay, so in this way, you calculated what? So consider this is 40%. I took it as 40%. New is 40%, old is 60%. Okay, now let's impute the value with nan. So nan count is equal to this one. This will give me the total nan count, guys. Right? Now total noun counts, 60% will be imputed with which value? New or old?
Old.
Okay, that means 60% of this value. So what is the 60% of this value? 0.6 of, in if you will multiply 0.6, that means 3745 rows you are going to impute with old, rest rows you are going to impute with new. Making sense? Or any query here? So that means I decided here, out of my total 6007 something right there, total missing value, 3745 missing values I'm going to replace with old category, and rest I will going to impute with new category. Okay, now import. So let's do it. This is a full code. Now if you see here, here nan count I am counting, that is 6 7, this one, right? This is what I am counting here, right? 6242, 60% old count. So what I am doing, I am creating one variable which will contain my 60% of the old count. That is what? This value, non count into 0.6. That means old count variable is containing which number? This number. And the new count will contain 40%. This till this it is clear. Now see how I am dealing with the missing values here. Device of the user, I'm calling that function, and in that function I am using fillna with old. That means what it will, so initially fillna, whatever you are going to provide inside fillna, that will be replaced with that particular value. All the nan value will be replaced with the value that we are passing inside here. Agree? Here one parameter is there called limit. That means replace the nan value with old value, but there is a limit. Don't replace all the nan values. Instead, replace only old count. Old count means what?
60% of the.
Out of your all missing values, replace 3745 missing values with old value. Now, once this is done, then rest 40% will directly call fill now equal to new. Guys, making sense? Anyone who like getting confused?
Yes,
So for
Sklearn,
that
please
limit, you are
go for
just
again.
passing that old count variable, right? So the
Correct.
60%.
Because we have total how many non-count?
64.
How many non-count?
6,000.
6,000 something, right?
Yes.
64.
Non-count. So this is non-count. So 6,242 non-counts, out of which 3,450, 3,745, that is 60% of data. I am limiting those. That means for the first 3,745 rows, which contains NaN values, will be replaced with old. Rest,
Okay,
this minus this will be with new.
okay, if you don't give that limit here, it will be replaced with old values.
All the
Everything will
values.
be-
All the
okay.
values. That means if we'll do this, and if we'll remove this one, all the 6,200 something is there, that will be replaced with old.
Okay.
But this was suggested by one of the learners, so that's why I we are doing this. But in previously what what I was explaining, okay, just fill na, then old value, then all your 6,000. But it's like, why to go for this? We have to check the proportion, because this is making more sense rather than imputing everything with one value. You see the proportions, and that also you can do randomly, assign the values to the here. What first 3,000 something, 3,745, the first 3,745 rows will be imputed with old. But you can, this is to you, okay, to you to think and write the code. You can go through the column and randomly select out of the missing values, randomly select, not from the top to bottom, randomly select 3,450 rows and randomly impute old values, right? This will be making more sense instead of the first 3,745 rows. Okay, let's go next. So now, okay, I have to show you after doing this the outcomes. Just a minute, let me run this code. Now the same column, let's check the NaN values. What is the value now? 0, because you have imputed all the NaN values with this condition. Okay, what is this one? Event type. Okay, this is something different. So this is how you verified your missing value is gone now with imputation this and this.
And Ashish, how we will give randomly? What would be the code in that?
That you need, that's what I told you. You need to explore that. It will be, try to explore this one. How do you need to randomly select the rows and impute this one? I have not tried. It is in my mind that I said to you, because this proportion thing is making more sense. Even if this randomly imputing is making even more sense, right?
Ashish, I tried that thing when we were doing.
How did you, what is the code you used?
First, I generated a like list of indexes, random numbers, from 0 till length of like number of rows we have, and then using those indexes, the first 60% of those indexes were filled with old value, and the remaining indexes with new value.
Great, nice. Try this one, guys. Okay, try. So extract the indices. Okay, now it's 11 now. Okay, guys. Okay, so suppose you have more number of categories like this one. There is a column called what? Event type NN. How many columns? Sorry, how many values that one column contains? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So different, so many categories. you can calculate the proportion of the what? Each category. But here I think these are not making that much sense because very less is present, right? And how you are going to impute this one? You calculate the proportion. Now, based on the proportion, you try to impute. So 58% or 50, so consider this 60%. 60% of your missing value in this particular column, you impute with payment. Then 25% you impute with session signing. 60, 25, what is the word? 85, right? Then rest you calculate based on your requirement, because you got now if you have multiple category, how to impute based on the proportions. This is what is the missing value proportions or what value proportions? Guys, this data is what is this data?
The values which
On
present in
menu
the
values.
event type.
Yeah, the proportion of the values, not the missing values, the real values that is present. And based on looking into this, you decide which percentage impute values you need to present, or how many percentage of this particular category you are going to replace. Okay, now we have next week. So this is imputation, right? We have next is called, I show you this things, right? 4 things.
Handling missing data.
Imputing category, imputing continuous. This one we'll discuss tomorrow. If you guys okay, we can discuss today. But if you want to leave for the office, then we can stop here. We'll create a different model.
Yeah, Ashish, we are running late.
Yeah, okay, no worries. You can please proceed, and we can continue tomorrow. Important one, okay? This is the conceptual part. I'm going to upload this file today in the G drive. Please go through it once. Okay, I'll provide you this data set also in the file.
So did you get a chance to check the email and about the error that I was getting in the
Yeah,
dash?
I replied you back yesterday. I was not like from the screenshot, I'm not able to copy the errors, right? So I replied you to paste me the error. But
Okay.
I hope you missed that mail.
Yeah, I didn't check my email. Okay, sir, I'll reply.
Yeah, I immediately after a few hours, I replied to give me the, just copy the error logs and paste in the chat. Don't follow the mailing like hi, regards and all. No need to do that. Okay, just paste me the errors and we'll see.
Yeah, okay, sir. Today I'll do that. I'll email you.
No worries. You like we'll sort that out. No, not a problem.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So any query or anything that you want?
I have a small request for the learners, right? So can we create a group like WhatsApp group or any group? Like if we have doubts, we can share with each other. Is that okay with all?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
we
okay
can.
with that.
Yeah, then it will be easy. Like if we have any doubts and all those.
And for that part, I need to add one thing. I need not to be added in that group.
Yeah, sure. We learners can be.
That will be really good thing, good initiative you thought actually. It will be
Yeah.
beneficial because by discussing, I have personally learned so many things by discussing with the co-learners. Okay, so that will be really good.
Yeah. How can we like do that? Can we share the number?
Is that allowed? Actually, I don't know. I'm also interested to do that actually, but
Yeah,
initially in the
we were
meeting,
not. Yeah,
they were
we are
telling.
not sure and all, right?
Ashish, hope we are not breaking the rules. At least we can create a Discord channel, which is well within the rules.
So that's why I said
But
like you need not to add me.
it's it's based on our thing, right? Like there is no rules called like you can't create a group and all those. If I'm
Not for
not wrong.
learners, not for learners. That's why I told you you need not to add me because there is a rule for me not
Yeah,
to.
okay.
So that's why, because so many things going on. No? So but I'm not sure about learners whether that rule apply to you guys or not.
And
So
also, like, if
can
we
we get the
were
clarity, Ashish, regarding that?
Yeah, I
All
think we
them, all
can
them.
like we can uh,
like
create a
we'll
group,
do one thing, like we'll create a group. It better don't disclose it to anyone, then it'll be fine. Like, don't get to any kind of a tragic situation,
No,
so
no, 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 no.
then
So
it'll be
maybe if we
better.
don't
What I can
disclose, they'll
suggest.
get to know.
No, no,
They'll
no.
get to know.
Do one thing. Do one thing. Call to
Okay.
one of the coordinator and tell them
Mhm.
that the learners, want to create a group. Just the learners.
Okay.
If they can provide you the numbers, then you can do, or they can create and they can add. Because they
Okay.
have all the details of your, right? Your numbers, your batch details and all things, right?
Yeah.
So that will be easy for them.
So in
I
the
in the
WhatsApp
previous
group link, right, sir?
yeah, like in the previous batch, I like in the evening batch, the people share the numbers and they created the group. That's the reason I'm asking.
One of us can create a group link and share it in chat.
Yeah,
Other could join.
then
That would be easy, I think, sir.
Yeah, but I'll suggest once you inform the coordinators that we are doing, because I have seen this people are doing in other batches.
Yeah, that's
So
the
maybe
okay.
not a problem, but you inform them and do it. It will
Okay,
be
can
better.
okay, do you have a time, Ashish? Like, I can just give a call right now and then, or else?
Yeah. You
Okay,
can,
just give a minute.
but I think lots of the people left for the day. So better you do it tomorrow. So only
Okay,
14
sure.
people. Even if you create the link, those people will not get because they left the call already.
Yeah.
Dinesh, take the initiative and do the
Yeah,
format.
let's see.
Yeah.
Let me ask.
And other batches also done that, so it's not a problem, I guess.
But unfortunately, it's not for me, guys. But yeah, okay. So let me know tomorrow if all okay. Then will you create and share the link? I will share in the chat for everyone.
Yeah,
Sure, Ashish.
I think
So
it will
Ashish, why can't we go for a Discord channel where you can also be a part of it and it's well within the rules of the
No,
institution?
that is not the rule. The mentors are not supposed to get connected with the learners. That they told me initially when I joined 6 months back. Okay, so that is the rule.
No,
This is
Discord
the
is not
only
a
rule.
private thing, right? It's like well within the institution only. It cannot run outside, right?
No, this is internal only. Even if the Discord channel, you can't get in because so many batches are running, right? So if you'll get involved in one batches, so for the mentors only, I'm not talking about you guys. You can create a Discord channel but they have put a rule for the mentors when I joined. Not even WhatsApp, not even LinkedIn, not even any other means. Okay, I signed an NDC.
NDC, okay.
So that is also one thing we need to take care.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
happens in the corporate.
but not always. But you guys also, if you will create a group, it will be beneficial.
Yeah.
That discuss Dinesh, please, with them.
Yeah. Sure.
Ashish, what if we create an alumni group after this end of the 48th session? You can definitely be a part of it, right?
So please, so this part will be the management's call.
No, alumni, you are not breaking any rules. Since you have been our mentor, you can also be part of that channel.
See, I am
There's
happy
nothing
to be
wrong.
part of that, but these people, those are setting the rules, right? So that should not violate that their rules and all. What you are saying, that is making sense. I'm not against that, but just to let them inform and do that. That's what I'm saying.
They only said that to contact with the email, I guess, with the mentors and the other.
They will say like that, maybe.
For us learners, it will be okay, I guess.
That's what.
Anyways, Dinesh,
Only the
bro, you
mentors.
update us by tomorrow. Okay. Dinesh, you are
Yeah, I'm here.
Please discuss, guys, and let me know.
Sure.
So we'll wind up then the call, guys.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.